Well, hello everyone. Let's see here. Let me get my manager up. We're gonna do much the same thing we did last week or yesterday, 2 days ago, and work on some AudioBro modern scoring string stuff. So what I've got in front of me, this is not what we worked on last time. This is some new material that I was working on earlier today. Um, Instead of kind of taking this in the direction of a true first look or a true like library review style sort of stream, what I'd like to do is just compose with AudioBro modern scoring strings. I noticed as I was kind of like watching the replay of last time that we I spent a lot of time just kind of composing instead of really kind of going in depth on the library. And that's just kind of my style. It's just kind of the way that I work. It's sitting down and doing a review of a library is really not my strength. So I'd rather just kind of write something good. So let's do that, and then we'll worry about um, how the library works uh, overall, kind of as we go. So let's go ahead and I'll show you what we've got so far. It starts here at measure 5. I'm just going to log into the dashboard on my iPad here so I can see the chat while this plays. Yeah, that's what we've got so far. So it's sort of along the same lines as what we were doing yesterday. Um, iPad is not going to work for chat. That's okay. I've got it up here. Um, I'm doing it a little bit differently in that because I'm not trying to just go straight through MSS and kind of review it, I've got some other libraries mixed in here. So you could kind of look at it as like a layering video, I guess, if that's what you're looking for. What we've got going here in the strings is Berlin symphonic strings, violins, and violas here, with the modern scoring strings cello and the BBC SO cello mixed on the bottom. Obviously, we've got choir parts and stuff. So here's what just the MSS stuff is. Right now it's just cello. And what we've got going on from a sample perspective here is so I've turned the transition speed up and the transition volume down to try to kind of make it a little bit more agile. So really trying to take advantage of the polyphonic legato in this one. Here's what the choir's doing. So they're just kind of in a bit of octaves. So the stream quality is looking a little better on my end. I tweaked a lot of settings. So we're using those rocking ostinatos in the violin twos here. So that is a bit of a harsh. So this is the first change we're going to make. We're going to move this to a different... Let's try it maybe there. Yeah, a little less ringy. Okay, let's talk about mixing. Earlier, I mixed it with BBCSO, which I think worked out really well, because sort of the thinness of the MSS sound really gets filled out by the sort of more darker tone of BBCSO. So what I've done here is, as far as samples, that I was hearing. So this is a technique I do a lot when I layer. I'll pull some mics from one library and other mics from another, so maybe close from one and tree from another. And I find that they often will kind of gel together, especially when they then go through the same reverb to kind of work together. It doesn't always work. Sometimes, you know, it's possible, obviously, to make some changes that really mess with the sound if you're not careful, but that cymbal roll feels very much like your friend Gareth. Yeah, he does that sort of magical percussion thing. I think the Celeste is probably, or the Celeste, excuse me, is probably helping out with that, especially with the Mark tree. Still a little loud on the mix, honestly. Ah! Where's my cymbal? See, I already turned it down once. So here we've got CSS and MSS layered together. I thought this might be interesting because CSS is so incredibly dark. It's much too dark for my taste. But it's kind of a nice complement to the what I feel is maybe a little bit over bright in the MSS sound. So Traveling Halo, here's a question for you. Does this sound familiar to you? This is a question for all. Actually, this is for anybody who likes Halo. Does this sound familiar to you? So I know my stream is a little behind where I am, so you're probably seeing, several seconds back from me. But let me give you a little hint. Let me grab some violas we're not using. Let's grab the BBC violas here. Or my BBC violas. BBC violas. Come on, BBC violas. There they are. I'm ashamed to say I never played a Halo game. Nothing wrong with it. You can pick it up right now. For those Halo fans out there, these chords, if I do this, you'll... These chords... It is Never Forget. Anyway, I was actually messing with modern scoring strings, with the ensemble patch, and I was like, oh, those chords are so nice, so I just stole them. So we got a different melody on top. Pardon me. We sort of get away from those Never Forget chords here, but we'll call it an homage, right? We're not stealing, it's an homage. I can't hear this mark tree. It's a great little progression, and it's nicely voiced. The way that I think I've heard I'm not 100% sure that's a Michael Salvatore track. That's how you say his name. I hope I'm saying his name right. It's just the way he inverts things is so nice. The way it goes, so there's, I mean, look at the voice leading on it. Look at the voice leading on it. Where is my secondary monitor? That's that sense of growth and symmetry. It's really, really nice. Oh yeah, that's right. You're right. My voice does switch. I don't have the mic, this mic loaded in that scene. That's my fault. Thanks for letting me know, AP Moss. So now let's do some of our own stuff. Let's do kind of an inverse of that. Instead of having the bass step down, let's have the top of that fifth go up. Let's see what that sounds like. Sorry, that's really quiet. I can show some. There we go. Man, I need to add that microphone to that scene. Sorry. Let's call me an OBS noob here. So this, we're gonna walk up. So that is so incredibly loud or aggressive. I want to smoothly change. There we go. There we go. We can do maybe like that. Okay. So there's our cello. So it's just walking up on the top. So we're doing kind of the same thing. We're not doing the like arching that the original chords did, but we're kind of walking up. Let's add some violas in contrary motion. Hold on, I gotta. These are gonna be a little too loud. It's close. Let's try it again. That's okay. Yeah, yeah. There's so much to do with just those simple little chords. Because the voicing, by making the voicing so important, it gives you just this whole like universe of things to do with the voicing, even though you're keeping the harmony the same. Yeah, it's because they're way the modulation wheel is knocked all the way to the top. Because I like to draw my dynamics later. Once I go in and draw in some nice dynamics, it will sound better. So, this was the line we just recorded. In fact, you know what we can do is we can actually grab this from the previous. This 38. Oh no! There. There we go. So now it'll be more. I think that really sparkly sound that MS has right now is it's not working against us per se, but it's a little forward. So I could go in an EQ. It has built-in EQ. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix it with CSS. Let's just add CSS violas that are a little darker. Why are you so loud? Why are you so loud, bro? Oh, that's right. I could have sworn CSS uses breath for vibrato. But it's using modulation? What? Oh. Okay. Guess the violas are different. That's alright, easy to fix. So I like CSS. I think it's a good library. I feel like it has more quirks than people give it credit for, though. We probably want vibrato in this line. Let's try this. Cool. All right. Do we have any modern scoring strings violas loaded at the moment? Yes, we do. Okay. Or no, it's violin 2s is what I actually want. Oh, we have lots of those. Am I just like nuts? Doesn't CSS use mod wheel for dynamics most of the time? Am I crazy? I know it. Usually it's... Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Okay. Let's put an actual melody on top of this now. This will be like our third melody of the piece. I feel like we should have it start on that on the T. No. No, thank you. No, thank you. Oh, that's right. We're going to start on T. So, again, they're going to sound loud, but it's only for recording purposes so I can hear where they are. I don't love it. So, hold on just a minute. I want to listen to the last previous section into this. The other thing I want to do is get some tempo expression right now. Right now we're just like at 60, just locked. This is not for Halo Infinite. I am done with Halo Infinite, so this is just some look at, you know, learning to use a new library, basically. Yo, no, that's fine. That's fine. So that does work in context. That's good. Sorry, where was my MST violin 2? There it is, or MSS rather. I like this idea of T because it's sort of been set up prior. Let's try that. I'm not loving this. I actually like the chords by themselves better. I do think these Shelly need those darker BBC ones here. But by saying I'm done with Halo Infinite, meaning I think music is done, at least for what I've been working on. All right, I'm gonna use Berlin here. Hold on, I got it. A nice little melody. It's a little languid. We're gonna leave that there because I'm lazy. Leave those dynamics just pegged. What's gonna happen is we're gonna switch tone colors. We're gonna go to some horns. Before I do that, I used this horn before, and I don't think I put a key switch in to set its set it that I want it to be playing legato. Just a minute, a little interface tweak here. Yeah, C6 sustains. We want. Where is your key switch? Oh, your key switch is right high. Okay. Let's just put that key switch in so that we don't change the articulation and come back later and be like, why? Cool, so that's there to remind us, and then we're gonna use the long over here for this like little line. Nope. You. There we go. Let's just see what we can do here. Ooh, that would be nice. A little friction there. I don't think that phrase is over, but whatever. So we're just having some block chords here, nothing super exciting. I guess that can... So we want this to really breathe, so we're gonna just put in a little, like, spike here. That's too much of a spike, but that's okay. That's okay. We're starting too high, too. It's also helpful sometimes to put in just a little bit of curve in it. We're also going to double that on something else. Probably a wind. I will say that when I stream, Logic gets super, super laggy. I do not run an incredibly powerful main DAW machine. It's just an iMac. It's old. Cool. Now let's phrase the violins. Now that we know what's happening structurally there from a harmonic standpoint. So we definitely want to crescendo into that little... So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit T, W, which allows you to do the curves. And if I move the mouse to the side, you can see it gives me kind of an S curve, because I want there to be a little bit at the beginning, kind of to flatten out, and then to push in. Let's see if that sounds good. Yeah, that's nice. It needs something to, like, double it. So why don't we just have our lovely first violins be in unison? What do we say? It just needs a little more body, I think. Well, I wonder. Actually, let's try something else. Let's try... Let's try this again. We've already used an English horn earlier. I think it might work out well here to have it. It's getting honky, but... English horn it is. Fortunately, this English horn uses the same controllers, so I think we can just do that. But it's from Cinewin, so it's too loud. We also need some bass in our chords, which is easy enough. Tuba. So we start in E minor, C, D, E minor. Nothing crazy. Hold on, it's sign player. You think it's loaded. It might not be. Okay. All right. I'm gonna get rid of that secondary monitor on the screen here. All right. Let's try to put in some chords. This is gonna be far too loud to start. Just warning. Headphone users, maybe. the Cinewinds Cor Anglais is like, oh, so good. It's so good. I don't have Berlin, which I hear is better, or what I ever hear everyone say Berlin wins are better. But I've just never needed to, because like that one, those sound so nice, and Cinewinds, and it's just like, why? I love Starbound's music you did. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I'm very proud of Starbound. I'm very proud of that I didn't do Starbound in a giant setup like this. Starbound paid for a lot of this. I did it on like a really old iMac, with just Hollywood, the Hollywood series. That's it. So, yeah. So one of the problems with doing it, with composing like this, is that as this horn is like just a microsecond too early every time, it becomes more and more obvious to me. We could do like maybe all right, I'm gonna try something out. Are you ready? Hopefully this works. I actually have a keyboard camera today. So we're just doing, I don't know if you could even see it, but let's try it. Helps if you have the right one selected. We'll do an octave lower. Can barely hear that because of previous MIDI controllers, but we will fix that. We will fix that. I would love to record Starbound live, by the way. Would love to. All right, we don't need the keyboard cam anymore. I need to get a stream deck so I can change these a little more fluidly. This is my favorite voicing of every chord. I did this last time, but I'm going to do it again. That is also the voicing that is used in this thing. It takes a chord, so you take the chord, so hopefully you can see this. You take the chord, so D, F, A. You take the third, and you put it on top, so it's a super open voicing. And then when you go up on the end, you do it in inversion, so you leave the third on the bottom. It's just a wonderful way to voice a chord. It's like my favorite thing. That's also Traveling Halo in his video notes this. That's also the way like when the pilot does the Please Don't Die. That's a different key, but I mean if we're in the key of A. Wait, it's lower, yeah, so it's more like it's just love it. It sounds like it's like you took a sunset and just smashed it down into one set of chords. So okay, let's get back to what we're doing. What if we took these notes, just the notes, not the MIDI controllers, and put them on that synth that started us? Currently on my synth pad track. I don't know if these are dexterous enough to do this. I don't think they are. Why is that so quiet? Oh! Because I'm silly. Oh, I so want this to work, and I don't think it does. Let's try doing this. Grab every single note and make it shorter. Oh man, that synth pad is so good, but it's not going to work here. That's okay. What we'll do is we'll grab a new synth pad that's very similar and just change its attack. In fact, what we're going to actually know what we're going to do? We're going to duplicate that track. The X is just to remind me that I need to make sure those numberings work. We're just going to crank the attacks. Does that work? Boo. Boo. The releases are too long. Oh. All this work I've been doing on SynthPad 2, I've been leaving all the MIDI data on SynthPad 01. Is somebody at my door? I think I just heard someone knock on my door. Give me a second. Yes. Oh, must have been a package. We'll grab that later. I think you are going to enjoy the music in Halo Infinite. I'm pretty proud of it. So this does not work. This just doesn't work. There's a fundamental problem with how that patch is constructed in terms of this phrase. It's too fast. Alright, I am gonna put that problem off for a second and just listen to this whole thing. So we open with that synth here, which is not in the right spot. It's 2 measures late. That's weird. Oh no, I have messed up something. Why is this so quiet now? Did I break it? I broke it. I broke it. I completely broke it. That's okay. I can fix it. I can fix it. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. We got it. I can fix it. I just have to rename some things over here, and I have to reload some patches here. I'll reload the default of that. Yes, and the default of... Oh no, I broke it. Where is that one? Okay. Yes. Let's see. Do we have a nice... Yeah, we do. I just need to turn it up. There we go. Suitcase. I get it. Hi. Yes, we're doing okay. I live in Colorado, so when snow happens, we're, you know, obviously the infrastructure is kind of more prepared, so we're doing great. It's actually been melting today. I feel bad for Texas, because, you know, they're not designed for cold temps like this. You have to really have designed for it. Like, I was reading in the local paper this morning that, like, they keep huge reserves of propane on hand for this exact scenario. What they do is they have a giant spike in electrical usage here. They actually take that propane and manufacture natural gas out of it. But obviously, if you don't expect it to be that cold right now, you wouldn't. Why would you have prepared for that? Anyway. Yeah, we're getting there. This is getting there. Oh, good. It's good to hear that the things are getting better. Just gonna do a little hygienic regimen here so that our regions are all named correctly. I think having a little wind flare with this would be nice. This actually might be good too. Not 2. I want 1. Trumpet 1, please. I know that I was wrong. I'm going to fix it. The Logic score editor defaults to not allowing notes to overlap, and this sometimes causes me to read things wrong. And yes, could I probably fix that in my template? Yes. Do I want to spend that much time doing something so tedious? No. Oh, I just deal with it. Alright, this is going to be too loud, so let's turn it down, because this, well, I guess it's Berlin, but... It's a nice trumpet, it's got good tone. And we can use the second trumpet, that's fine. We will just have to put maybe the bottom parts of those chords there. I don't know if I want to have a full triplet on the... Hold on, give me a second to fix something in the score editor. Grab that region. Overlap the notes, please. Thanks. Alright. Where were we? We were up at trumpet 2. Okay, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but that D is too loud. No player would ever play it like that. There we go. Cool. Let's do some synth stuff. So part of this is me kind of looking at modern scoring strings, just kind of composing with it. But part of it is I would love to continue. I have a bunch of tracks pretty much ready that I would love to do like a little short sketch album on. And but they have a lot of synthy stuff in them, so we need to. I can't have this be just like all orchestra. It's got to kind of mesh with that. I did use this library in that, but I don't think it's the exact patch. Also, typically when I work on something big like a Halo, I would probably really customize the patch, and I'm sure I did. We also had some custom stuff made for us that's in there, so it's probably very similar. But yeah, actually, not on screen, please. this one. I probably based one on this. Let's see. Shoot, that's not on. I've already archived that folder, so I don't actually have it anymore. But yeah. Yeah, it's definitely based on that. I think I put it through some different. Listen to that. How far that hangs over. Okay, come on. I think we do these cellos sul pasto, they will sound quite exquisite. These are long, so we can afford to quantize them just for my own sanity. Then let's trigger a sul tasto at the beginning. Where's my sul tasto key switch? It is. Actually, let's do flautando. Because I have not abused flautando enough. No dynamics. Some dynamics, please. You can barely hear these now because of an overhanging controller, CC controller that's still triggering way low. This is probably going to be too loud, actually. Also, your releases are awful. Please be better. There we go. Wow. Guess I... Part of this is because of the mics I have loaded on this library at the moment. Why is that still so incredibly quiet? Play, please. God, the flautando is so quiet. Okay, I changed my mind. Let's try to sul tasto it anyway. Alright, so that's flautando, spiccato, staccato, pizzicato, collegno, tremolo, trill, trill, sul tasto. This might be too loud now. Oop. Nope, nope, wanted to select. So this is a little... Hey, no problem. See you later. Thanks for being part of the stream. It's nice to have people. Cool. Let's hear what we have so far. I think that's a good place to kind of like maybe take a pause and do some tempo work. Because there's a lot of like writs we need to add and some other stuff. So let's take a look at that. Before we do that, let me just make sure this actually starts on measure 5, where I like to have my stuff start. Cut section between locators. Thank you. That chord has way too many A's in it. And I think I want to continue the strings under this. Alright, let's do that first while I'm thinking about it. Stop playing. Let's get the strings under this. In the way they're supposed to be, because we're losing too much texture when we go to adjust the brass. So it's let's do the basses first. E minor, C, D, E. Yeah, it's sounding okay. I'm actually liking it. We're going some good places here. Still needs work, still needs tempo work, still needs a lot of expression work. There's a couple of places where I'm hearing some timing issues, but they're little stuff. It's not like fundamental problems, which is good. That's good. That's actually the bass fixed that for me for now. I'll probably come back and decide that I was an idiot and should change it. But let's do some tempo work. Okay, so where's our first like place where we're gonna like really have a nice expressive moment? So right here is a place. I'm just going to use one of these tempo operations because it's easier. Let's drop to say 52, 51. Oh, we don't need that. Let's see how that sounds. From a... I didn't hear the difference there. Better. Nothing moves together at 18. I need to work on that. Need a little rit here, but then it needs to go right away. Let's have it be to not that much. And it should go right back into time at 22. Let's see. Close. Close. Maybe 54. I would normally put one in 23, but since we just had this one, I'm going to leave it alone. We're going to go a little slower in this little section here. So we're just going to put a tempo in here that's going to keep going until we decide we don't like it. Let's say 55. Can't hear the dun dun. Oh, that's okay. This needs to be a tempo here once we start these, so let's just tempo that up. Actually, we can even go a little faster. We could probably go like 65 here. It's a little rushed. Let's try 62. I want to be just a teensy bit faster. We can have a little rit through here. What are we at right now? 62? 62 down to 58. But then goes away. And then we want to be back to our odd tempo here. We want to like a hard odd tempo. Actually, no, we don't. We want it to be a slightly slower. If I was writing in the score, I would say a little slower. CA 58. one of these dudes. Let's see, what are we currently at? 58. Let's go to. I actually think we could get away with something like crazy like that. Let's see. I like it. I like it. I'm leaving it for now. I might blow that away later. This needs denser orchestration. And I know just the thing. Surprise, surprise! It's a double read! Yeah, probably this one. Hold on, I gotta adjust the controllers here. Basically, I have to switch them. Make those modulation controllers, and then expression maybe like right here. Much better. Oh, and then it leads into that Korong, so nice. So, I feel like I can hear a moving voice in here somewhere. Bum, 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 bum. Maybe. What chord are we on there? C, right? Yeah. We could, I think we might be able to repeat the opening, but this time in C major. Let's see. We're just going to try it. We're going to try it. I don't know if this is going to work. This is a big gamble, but I have a feeling. Let's just grab this. Copy section between locators. Insert section at playhead. The big thing is we have to make sure we don't transpose any key switching, because that's what I constantly do. Let's grab all of it. Actually, let's do this Control A. Let's get rid of this key. Like, we don't want to have this key switch selected. Is that really the only key switch? Okay. Functions, Midi transform, transposition. We're currently in G, actually, so we ended on C. C is the. Let's try it to. This may cause some range issues. So let's try it in F, because we're on the 5th of F chord right before that. I'm warning you, this may sound like utter garbage. Obviously, we have a volume problem here. I can't remember if we actually hit like the lowest note of viola here. It doesn't sound bad. The balance is off now. We would make this a different solo instrument here. That dynamic sounds weird in that key. We move the symbol to a different symbol, but so I do like the modulation. We need to go in and do a bunch of work making it different, right? Not just changing the key. We need to do some like new textures within that. But I do like the switch. I'm not 100% sold on the transition, but it's close. So this is back in G major, E minor, whatever it is we're in, one of those two. Really G major. This would need to change a little bit, but not a lot. What we could do to make this better would be, I think, to keep this C going. Let's see if this fixes it, or how, if it helps. It helps. Yeah, now we're just in F. That's cool. Okay, so I like the modulation. Okay, let's put this. Ooh, I tweaked my back the other day. Ugh, ouchie. What about a bass flute? I don't know if it's gonna be loud enough. Oops. It's not loud enough, but we could fix that. I mean, we could also double it on an alto flute, maybe. Obviously, there's something weird happening in the strings there. And what we'll do, actually. So, to me, Let's do this. Let's save what we have. It sounds like it needs to go into like a big statement of this melody we've been sort of repeating the whole time, which will be lovely. But I'm not 100% sure, and the major surgery we're going to have to do to get that to work is going to require us to do this. So let's call this version 0.5, I guess, since it's not quite done. And let's say file, project, new alternative. Call it version 0.75, since, again, we're not quite to a... I usually don't call it V1 until, like, there's a version that starts and ends nicely. So we'll just call these 0.5 and 0.75. So now 0.5 is saved, so we can always come back to what we have right now, where it kind of goes into the same ideas that we've had before. Let's see if we can go into a big statement of this. Edit. Cut section between locators. Go away. All right. So what we definitely need to do is, the first thing we're going to do is just move every controller to an actual crescendo instead of having it die off the way they all do right now. So let's grab every instrument that is crescendoing, that is doing the crescendo here, and make it go to right to the end here. We also don't need this note. Oh, thank you for the raid. Louis, I hope I'm saying this right, Louis Dio. I appreciate it. That's never happened to me before. This has been like a first week of firsts on Twitch here. I normally don't get a lot of interaction. Hello, everyone who is coming in. Nice to see you. We're just working on a piece using some AudioBro new stuff. What is hanging over there? What is hanging over on that? You played Starbound? Oh, cool. That's nice. Ah, it's you! It's a viola, of course. Is that an open string? Yeah. Whoa! I gotta know, who's doing it? Who's in Soul Pont? My celli are in Soul Pont, and they're hanging. It went from really pretty to rude. It's scary. Hold on, let me find this. Here, let me find this, this instance here. Where is it? Where are my... Ah! Stop! Thank you! I think we can answer the question if we accidentally transposed a key switch. We definitely did. Why are you in... You're in... Oh, you're in aleatoric. Why are you in aleatoric? That's what you should be in. That's pretty funny. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna be honest with you, but I hope I answered it correctly. I need to figure out why that was on aleatoric. I wonder if I just bumped the key. 19 out of 20. Alright, what is our main melody? He said on measure 86. What is our main melody? It's probably that dun, dun. That's what I'm hearing, at least here. That brass thing. Where's that brass thing? Where is that brass thing? The brass thing. Is it this thing? No, it's this thing. It's at measure 26. Dun. No, that's not right. What am I hearing here for the melody? Maybe I'm not hearing that. I am not going to try to pronounce the French. I've taken a lyric diction class, but if I've learned anything, it's that I am very bad at French pronunciation. German, iffy. I'm going to try it anyway. What is it? Je rigole? Is that right? Rigole? Yeah, but French is so nice. So it has the le on the end. Rigole. Je rigole. Alright. I don't know what I'm doing. I have been distracted by the French. Gotcha. Let's do this. Let's grab this thing, because I think this is going to be the harmonic environment in which this next section is going to live. But it is probably going to be significantly louder than that, so let's fix that. Let's give this just a little bit of a fall off here. Why is that in aleatoric mode? What is triggering that? What is the key switch for that? Let's fix this now. Okay. Aleatoric key switch is one of these up here. What did I touch that? I didn't. Oh, you know what? It's the transposition. It's the transposition. That's why. Okay. So there's a note there that's not right. Okay. Let's fix that right now. So not only does it go below the cello's range, it actually triggers a key switch. Super good. Okay. Probably this one, right? Yep. What is that? That's 83. The chord we are on is a B flat major chord. We can move this to D, I think. And we do the same thing over here. So let's fix that. Still 0-1 on the correct key switching. Okay, I think we're good. We're good. Good night. Changing tempo here. Actually, I want this to be significantly faster. We just like rip off Never Forget completely here. We don't want to do it in octaves. But we're not going to do that because I actually want to sell this music. We're getting there. We're getting there. I said delete that, please. Delete that, please. Thank you. Delete the thing when I hit Control-E. These are just really behind the beat. Really behind the beat. I'm going to record... Cancel. No, don't delete the... Logic. What are you doing? I want to select this region. See? See? Selected. Delete. Thank you. I'm going to record this with Berlin Symphonic. Well, I don't know if I need thousands of viewers, but I wouldn't turn them down either. Okay, we're gonna have to do this a little bit more compartmentalized. Let's just do the first few measures. It sounds so reedy and thin and bad right now, but it will sound better when it's like big. I promise. I promise. I promise. Don't make a promise you can't keep. Okay. I think Berlin Symphonic Violin 2. Berlin Symphonic Violin 2. Where are you? There you are. So this should, like, start to fill it out. We should start feeling like this is as big as it needs to be. Yeah, we're getting there. Okay, good. Now, so part of the biggest problem is that we're lazily using, and by we I mean me, I'm lazily using these chords that we've been using on the cello the entire time, and really it needs this really dynamic, like arpeggiated, ya da 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 da. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go work on the bass part here. Work on the bass part here to get the harmony solidified so I can see it over here on the score, and then we'll work the cello part. And we'll work on, we can probably chop this in half. Okay, and delete this. Okay. So we're going to try using MSS here. Good night. So what? So, okay. All right. Why does that not sound good? You hear how the volume just pops. And look, our controller is completely immobile, and that's not using, shouldn't be using the accent. It's stuff like that makes it hard to use stuff like this. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna quantize. We're gonna use a different library just for this line because I don't want to fight it. First, let's try copying it. Yada yada. It's not an open. Isn't that an open string? I guess it is. It's an open string, but geez. Why does CSS sound like garbage on that line too? That shouldn't sound like a dumpster fire. It's a simple legato line that you see everywhere. Why are you using the staccato articulation? What grave sin have I committed? It was probably in the transposition. This is almost certainly my fault, but I don't know what. Where is the, hold on, it's easier. So Vienna has this awesome feature. Grab this, say raise on server, and oh, there it is. What in the universe? CSS sounds awful. 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 No soup for you. That is so bad. Why are you sounding like that? I am 100% sure. Let me be clear. I am yelling at CSS right now, and I am 100% sure it's my fault. So don't let this reflect badly on CSS. I don't think it's CSS's fault. But it's not obvious to me what I'm doing there that's causing that. Let's just record a new library. Does that sound better? I mean, I'll give it, this is a kind of difficult line in the sense that there's like a lot of open strings on it, because the arpeggiation just happens to fall right on some open strings, but it should not be like that. It should be beautiful and yeah. What was I going to do over here? Oh, I was going to check to make sure it was on legato. Oh yeah, I was going to make these. Anybody else find Berlin Symphonic weirdly quiet? I'm constantly going in here and like boosting this tree mic to make it match the volume of anything else in its default state. Obviously, these basses are just like sawing away at a volume that is too loud. Alright, we're going to use I'm going to try to use MSS here. I'm going to try. I think it's going to sound real good. Because they're going to go... Huh. Helps if you select the right track. Okay, let's just program these real fast. There's one part where I played an A instead of a G. I think it's here. Nope, it's this one. We can do better on the violas. We don't have to have them be block chords. That's much nicer little, like, semi-melodic line. It's too loud, though. It's like you can hear it, like, crashing into everything else. Also helps if you play the correct notes, generally. We can actually do this. Just do this. Grab it all! Grab it all! Make them overlap a little early. That's going to be a big, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. There we go. This is starting to bug me. Why does that feel so long? Something has also got a noise. Have you hear that? in the strings. Now I'm gonna be... It's not in high strings, is it in low strings? Yep. No, it's not. Well, you guys hear that like ringing up in the? Yeah, it's probably the bass flute. That's a good idea. Oh, well, yeah. Also, I'm apparently outside the bass flute's range. I could have sworn I wasn't. Yep, there it is. Teet, 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 teet. Good note. Ah. We'll just move it to the SSO bass flute. It's too quiet, but do you notice at this point I have effectively switched to Berlin? It's like almost completely Berlin now. That's okay. I don't think that MSS is a lovely, great library. Don't let this reflect badly on it, but it's a little more intimate library, and so it's really, really strong in a lot of those intimate things. But in this big, like you want this big, like whoosh, you know, it's the larger section sizes of Berlin just work better. Why does that sound so incredibly out of time, even though it's like something else must be late? It's the cello. The first note of the cello sounds way late. Oh, look, it's because it is. Yeah, that's a really ringy little thing. That's not acceptable to me. So I love samples, and I'm the guy on VI Control that goes in and defends sample libraries when there's a little bit of noise in them, but that noise was absolutely unacceptable. It just chopped through. I'm sorry, guys, but in your bass flute, you got a problem. What note was it? It was at a very high dynamic. Yeah. That should be EQ'd out. I should not have to EQ that out. That's okay. I could have EQ'd it out, too. If we decide we like the tone of that better, we can always EQ it out. But I should not have to. For what you're charging. Sorry. Don't, by the way, let this reflect badly on Cinewinds either, because, yeah, that's like a little problem. But, like, the Korong from earlier, I mean, it slays me. So, you know, these things happen. They pop up in libraries all the time. And it's totally okay to just, like, report it to the developer. I'll maybe send them an email after I'm done and just be like, hey, I noticed this, like, thing that could be easily RX'd out. Could you do that? And not a lot of times they will. Like, AudioBro came into my YouTube comments yesterday and was, like, super, like, hey, we want your feedback. And I wrote them an email, and we've been kind of going back and forth, and I've been kind of giving them my thoughts. So that's awesome. Oh, I wanted this on the higher line, sorry. Yeah, pros and cons to all libraries. Absolutely right. For example, I think CSS is going to sound better than OT on this line, actually. Let me see. If it has the right key switch on. I think that when I watch like people on YouTube and stuff, and they like find stuff like that, where the library isn't doing what they want, not like noises like that, but places where they're like, listen to how terrible this line sounds. 9 times out of 10, it's because it's user error. So whenever you see me railing against something in a library, I mean, assume it's user error. I mean, you really should, because beautiful, super loud, super, just volume wise, and it needs more space, I think. But that's easy to do. Doesn't sound. It sounds like I'm missing a legato. Da, 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 da. And also probably. I don't know if we can have this line in here, guys. It's starting to sound like my heart will go on to me. I'm never going to unhear that. Paging Celine Dion. It's that octave jump. Do I want to leave it or do I want to move on? I'm torn. All right. I'm not super great about involving the chat. Let's involve the chat in this one. Do we keep My Heart Will Go On? Press 1 for yes, 0 for no. Are we keeping the My Heart Will Go On octave? It's the same freaking chords too. It's like literally the same for that like few beats. I mean, I think in context it'll contextualize, but I am never gonna unhear that. And you know what caused it? You know what really caused it to pop for me? This orchestration with the flutes doubling the top violin line. That's why, because that is like James Horner's jam. If you look at any one of his scores, like if I were to just grab Willow here. Ooh, sorry. Actually, yeah, the Glory. Willow, I bet you if I like turn to a random page where there's octave strings, the flute's doing that. Let's look. Hey, look! First try. Flutes on strings. I mean, it's not like the most original orchestration, but he does it all the time. Because it works. Dang. I know, it's too noticeable, AP Moss. I agree. It's too noticeable. Yeah, here, I'll play it again. Right here. Where you are. I can't do it. I cannot do it. It is too close. It is too close. I can't do it. I am never going to unhear that. All right. I can't do it. I can't. I cannot. Cannot. All right. Well, maybe we'll call that for this day, and we'll maybe come back with some fresh ears on this section. It definitely needs to get big here. It definitely needs to like have a moment. But we're gonna have to find a new thing. What I should do is repeat the melody from earlier instead of trying to introduce a new one here. But yeah, let's get rid of it for now because I'm gonna leave the basses there because that's going to remind me what I was gonna do there when I come back to this later. But yeah, that's about a 2-hour stream, which is about as long as I can go before my brain begins to melt when I'm doing composition. So let's listen to what we did today. Let's listen, shall we? Every single show that my wife watches is in a new episode today, and it's like my notifications are blowing up. Here, I'll shut myself up. Ostinato! This is the melody we should use as our big melody in that part. Hold on, I think that's something else will work here. I'm not sure. No, I do not want to delete the track. I want to select this region. This region. Yep, I don't want to delete it. Thanks. Dun, dun, dun. Price gotta be higher, right? I'm still learning how to use this Auto tool correctly. Just give it a second. Okay, hold on. This will sound better, I promise. This will sound better, I promise. Yeah, this is a problem. Come on. The other thing that kind of dies after 2 hours is my stream, my like main DAW machine starts to get really slow. Nope. Of course, now it doesn't transition correctly. You know what? I'm just going to leave this in here, but I'm going to mute this region for now. We'll come back to it. Yeah, it's just a matter of lining all the chords up. That's so much more interesting. Like, amazingly more interesting when that's there. I think if we had a like multo writ there, like super ultra multo writ, like if we said edit tempo, I don't want to do it by hand. I'm going to do it with the tool. Why are you not letting me do it with the tool? Let's do it like this. Edit to tempo operations. Let's go down to like 30. Okay, adventures in the ostinato tool. Listen to this. Listen to 53. Why is it doing that? Because I have it on the setting that is it like auto tries to find the best loop for it, like the best version of the performance for it, and when I drop the tempo like that, it can't stretch it enough, so it goes to the double time. Oh. It sounds so weird. Oh, and I continued with new tempo. Oh, okay. Let's see if we can avoid that. I think it was tempo operations. I'm not sure we can do this. Let's just try 45. Don't continue with the new tempo though. That's about as good as it's gonna get for right now. I like that because it makes this little statement kind of its own thing a little more. So, super cool, by the way, that it still follows the tempo. Like, I don't know if, like, a lot of things that involve, like, using essentially what is a loop would die if I did this. So, +1 for AudioBro for allowing you to stretch tempo quite like that. That's a nice and handy thing, and it allows the piece to breathe and to live and to exist. I can't, there's some library I have that if I were to do this, I can't remember which one it is, but it has like, it's partially using loops, and when I do something like this, it cracks and pops and dies and distorts, and but that sounds just human. Okay. Yeah. Some harp in this section would sound good. It's gonna be this melody. So let's actually, you know what? I keep being like, I'm gonna get off. And I probably will, but let me just see what this melody sounds like right here, if it's an octave in octaves. Actually, well, okay. We don't actually want that to be an octave higher because it's the violin 2 part. Unless we want to do sometimes in violin 1 and violin 2, if I have them in octaves, I'll put the 2s on the top and the 1s on the bottom. Because sometimes having that slightly smaller section size gives it all this like expression. We'll see. Maybe we'll do that. I mean, it's gonna be too quiet, but let's try it. Logic is so laggy right now. Sorry, I keep having to... Yeah, okay, so we'll go to big statement. Let's put a marker there to remind ourselves for next time. Marker. Big statement. Time. Exclamation point. Okay. So that will remind me what to do next time. It has been lovely. Hi, Kyle Plays Keys. Yeah, I'm just about to hop off because I'm about to have my brain melt. Plus, oh man, my back needs to stand up. So yeah, I probably won't be in the weekend, but hopefully, yeah, next week we can get on to something akin to a regular streaming schedule on the weekdays. So probably in the afternoons. That's when my kid is at school. So yeah, I'll play this one more time just so that we've kind of got a good view of what we did today. I'll put the score up as well, which is nice because it mutes me. So let me get this score zoomed out so you can actually see more than one instrument. And yeah, when this is done, I'll be calling it a day. So thanks for stopping by. Thank you to everybody who commented. I really appreciate your interaction. It's been a fun time. And yeah, let's do this again sometime. See you guys later.